With playlists, you can schedule content, whether that content is static images, JPEGs or PNGs, video files, or layouts. In this menu rotation playlist, and by the way, it doesn't have to be for menu boards, any content that's added to a playlist can be scheduled. The playlists are commonly used, though, for dayparting, for menus. So in this example playlist, I have two layouts, which were added through the Layouts tab. And then the Assets gave us the option to upload, through the Upload Media tab, a couple of static images. So I have a breakfast JPEG and a lunch JPEG, and I've added those to the playlist timeline. So regardless of the content that you have, videos, images, or layouts, the little properties icon here allows you to set up your schedule. So it's important when scheduling content in the playlist to add that content in the order that you want it. So breakfast would be first in the timeline, lunch would be second, dinner would be next, and so on and so forth. So if you do have a couple of different days that are different breakfast-wise, let's say we have a breakfast menu that's scheduled a little bit different for week 1, and then it's scheduled a little bit different for week 2. You'd want to have both breakfast menu layouts or the layouts at the beginning of the playlist. So kind of the order of the week, order of the month, all in the order that you would have them in the timeline. So once they're in the timeline here, then you use the little properties icon to set up your schedule. Are you starting on a specific date? So you would use a start date, an end date calendar, if so. Otherwise, if it's just a simple day part menu, then you would type in using your keypad and just type in the days that you want that to play. So there's our breakfast menu. And the important thing to remember when setting up a day part schedule with the time range is that the playlist follows a strict 24-hour clock. So you have to have your schedule back to back. So this breakfast menu is from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. The lunch menu, I'll just remove the second breakfast here in this example. Lunch menu needs to start from 10 a.m. and then so on and so forth for the other layouts in this playlist. But what happens if you need to have some sort of content in between breakfast and lunch? Maybe you don't have a breakfast and lunch back to back. Well, in this example, for menu boards, maybe we have a little downtime image or another layout that has hours of operation or something like that. In this example, I'll just toss a breakfast burrito image in there that's full screen. So maybe this starts at 10 a.m. and then maybe lunch doesn't start until, we'll just put 12 p.m. in there. So then we have a little placeholder in between our downtime. And then for lunch, we would pick that up at 12. So you just want to be sure to remember when you're setting up a schedule within the playlist, that schedule needs to follow a back-to-back strict 24-hour clock. Once your schedule is set up within the playlist, then you would use the schedule on the navigation here to select which playlist you're going to be using first, and then you would select your players. And then Select Now will download and start playing that content right away. Or you can select a future date and time of when you want that to take place. This also gives you the option to select what happens when that schedule ends. So if you do choose an end date and time, then you have the option to have it go back to another playlist, maybe a different layout. So a couple of different options when you're scheduling, connecting that content to your players. Once it's been scheduled to your players, I'll just go back to our playlist. Any changes you make as far as adding or removing content from the playlist timeline will automatically save and download to the screen, to your players. But if you do set up a specific schedule, so if the time range changes in any way, if you add another image or layout to the playlist timeline and you set up a new schedule or modify that schedule, you will need to go to the players, and let's say that the left screen here is the player that we scheduled that playlist to connect it to that player. You will need to send a force update to write that code, write the schedule to the chip on that player. So that's the only extra step that you need when you're making changes to your playlists, specifically when you're working with schedules.